If you found this, something already knows you were ready. Not the part of you that scrolls and searches and decides what to click. Something older than that. Something that has been waiting with extraordinary patience for this exact moment in your life, when the door between what you were told you are and what you actually carry would finally crack open wide enough for light to come through. You found this because a frequency in you recognized a frequency in this. That is not a metaphor. That is how fields work. Like calls to like. Signal finds its match. And the signal that drew you here is ancient. It has been moving through your bloodline for longer than your family remembers, longer than the stories your grandparents told, longer than the names anyone wrote down. It has been waiting in you, in the specific configuration of your nervous system, in the particular way your heart generates its electromagnetic field, in the unique resonance pattern that makes you recognizably, irreducibly you. Today, I want to show you something about that signal. I want to show you what your ancestral field actually is, not as a spiritual belief you have to accept or reject, but as a measurable, physiological, electromagnetic reality that you carry in your body right now. I want to show you why certain gifts, certain sensitivities, certain ways of knowing that feel too large for one lifetime are not random. They are transmitted. They move through families, the way light moves through a prism, bending and refracting and emerging as something that could only have come through this particular arrangement of matter and memory and time. And I want to show you why the fact that you are here, right now, at this moment in your life, is not coincidence. Your ancestors chose you, not as a poetic idea, as a quantum reality, the specific pattern of your energy field, the way your aura broadcasts and receives, the particular coherent signature of your heart. These things were shaped by people who came before you, people who survived things you will never have to survive, people who held something precious through darkness so that you could carry it into light. Let me show you what they left you. Let me show you what is waking up. There is a field of study that most people never encounter, sitting at the intersection of epigenetics, quantum biology, and the emerging science of inherited electromagnetic signatures. It does not make headlines because it does not fit neatly into the story we have been telling about genetics, which is that inheritance is purely chemical, purely structural, purely about the sequence of base pairs in your DNA. That story is not wrong. It is just radically incomplete. Here is what the science of epigenetics has revealed in the last 3 decades. The expression of your genes, which ones are switched on and which ones remain silent, is shaped by experience, by environment, by the emotional and physiological states of your ancestors. Studies on the descendants of Holocaust survivors found measurable differences in cortisol regulation, in stress hormone profiles, in the very architecture of how their nervous systems respond to perceived threat. These were not people who had experienced the Holocaust themselves. They were children and grandchildren. But the imprint was there, written not in the sequence of their DNA, but in the chemical markers that sit on top of it. The epigenetic layer, the layer that says which genes to read and which to skip. This is called epigenetic inheritance, and it means something extraordinary. The experiences of your ancestors are not just history. They are physiology. They are alive in you right now, shaping how your nervous system responds, how your heart generates its field, how your aura broadcasts to the quantum field around you. But here is the part that almost no one talks about. If trauma can be transmitted through epigenetic mechanisms, so can resilience, so can wisdom, so can the particular frequency of a person who survived the unsurvivable and came out the other side not broken, but deepened, not diminished, but expanded. The epigenetic layer is not only a record of wound, it is a record of everything your lineage learned, everything they developed, every capacity they built through the pressure of living. Your ancestors were alchemists. They took the raw material of suffering, of joy, of love, of loss, of discovery, and they transmuted it into something that could be carried forward into you. What you carry in your energy field right now is not just your own experience. It is the distillation of theirs. Now let me take you deeper into the mechanics of how this actually works in your body, because this is where the science becomes genuinely astonishing. Your heart is not just a pump. You already know this at some level, because you have felt your heart respond to things that have nothing to do with blood pressure or cardiac output. You have felt it open and close. You have felt it ache and sore. You have felt it in certain moments seem to know things before your mind catches up. The Heart Math Institute, based in Boulder Creek, California, has spent more than 30 years measuring the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart. What they have found is this: your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends approximately 8 to 10 feet beyond your physical body in every direction. This is not a subtle effect. It is measurable with standard magnetometers. The field is real, it is large, and it carries information. Specifically, it carries information about your emotional and physiological state. When your heart is in a state called cardiac coherence, when the rhythm of its beats follows a smooth, sine wave-like pattern, rather than a jagged, irregular one, the electromagnetic field it generates changes in measurable ways. It becomes more organized, more powerful, more capable of influencing the fields of other people nearby. Research has shown that a person in a state of high cardiac coherence can measurably affect the heart rate variability of someone sitting close to them, even without touch, even without words. Field to field, signal to signal. This is the mechanism behind what you have always called presence. It is not personality. It is not charisma in the social sense. It is electromagnetic coherence, and it is the primary language of your aura. Now, here is a detail from that research that I want you to sit with for a moment, because it speaks directly to what we are exploring today. The HeartMath team found that the heart's electromagnetic field is approximately 5,000 times stronger in magnetic amplitude than the field generated by the brain. 5,000 times. The heart is not a secondary system that follows instructions from the brain. It is the primary broadcaster. It is the loudest signal in your body's electromagnetic output, and it is the signal that your ancestral field is most directly encoded in. Because the heart's coherence patterns are shaped by the nervous system's baseline calibration. And that calibration is precisely what epigenetic inheritance transmits. Your heart is broadcasting your lineage every single moment, whether you know it or not. If this is landing for you, here is something I want to share that goes even deeper into what we have just begun to touch. Have you spent years trying to feel lit up again? Visualizations, affirmations, vibration work, and the light still won't hold? Every one of those methods is telling you to push harder, do more, add another technique. It's not working, because the issue isn't that you don't have enough light. 6 specific patterns are sitting on top of it. They're called the frequencies of forgetting. The remembering field, a quantum guide to returning to the light. You forgot you were carrying walks through all 5 parts of getting those patterns off you. Every tool you used tried to add more light. This one lifts what's been sitting on the light you already carry. The longer you wait, the harder they get to clear. So go open it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now, back to the thread we were following. because what your ancestors left in your field is precisely the deeper current we are here to uncover. Now here is where your ancestors enter the picture in a way that is both scientifically grounded and genuinely breathtaking. The patterns of cardiac coherence, the baseline rhythms of your heart's electromagnetic field, are shaped by your nervous system. And your nervous system is shaped, in part, by the epigenetic inheritance you carry. This means that the people who came before you, through the experiences they survived and the capacities they developed, have literally shaped the baseline architecture of your heart's electromagnetic broadcast. When your ancestors developed the capacity to remain calm under extreme pressure, that capacity left an epigenetic mark. When they developed the ability to read a room, to sense danger before it arrived, to feel the emotional currents beneath what was being said, those abilities left marks too. When they loved with a fierceness that kept families alive through impossible circumstances, that love left a frequency in the lineage. And that frequency is in you. What is waking up in you right now is not something new. It is something very old, finally finding the conditions it needs to express itself fully. I want to make this even more concrete, because I think it is easy to hear something like this and let it remain pleasantly abstract. So let me describe what epigenetic transmission actually looks like at the molecular level, because the specificity of it is what makes it so extraordinary. Your DNA is wrapped around proteins called histones. The way the DNA winds around these histones determines whether a given gene is accessible to the cellular machinery that reads it. If the DNA is wound tightly, the gene is effectively silenced. If it is wound loosely, the gene is available to be read and expressed. The chemical modifications that control this winding, the addition or removal of methyl groups and acetyl groups to specific locations on the histone proteins, are called epigenetic marks. Here is what makes this relevant to everything we are discussing. These marks are heritable. They can be passed from parent to child. Not always, and not with perfect fidelity. But the research is clear that some epigenetic marks survive the process of reproduction and appear in the next generation. And the generation after that. The experiences of your great-grandparents, encoded as chemical modifications to histone proteins, can show up as altered gene expression patterns in you. This means that when your great-grandmother developed extraordinary patience through decades of difficulty, when she trained herself to stay steady in situations that would have broken a less practiced person. The physiological state that accompanied that steadiness, the particular hormonal and neurological environment that her body maintained through that practice, left epigenetic marks that influenced which genes were expressed in her children, and in their children, and in you. The steadiness is not just a story about her. It is a biological inheritance. It is in the way your nervous system is calibrated right now. If this is landing somewhere real for you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. Let me tell you about a woman named Celestine. Celestine was 43 years old when she first started having what she called the knowings. She would walk into a room and simply understand things about the people in it that she had no logical way of knowing. She would pick up the phone to call someone a moment before they called her. She would dream in a language she did not speak consciously and wake with the sense that someone had been speaking to her, specifically with great love and great urgency. She was afraid of it at first. She had grown up in a family where this kind of thing was not discussed, where the inner life was kept private, and the extraordinary was quickly explained away. So she did what many people do with gifts they cannot yet hold. She tried to put it down. She stayed very busy. She kept the television on. She filled the silence with noise and the stillness with tasks. But the knowings kept coming, and they kept being right. One afternoon, Celestine was going through boxes from her grandmother's house after her grandmother passed. She found, wrapped in cloth at the bottom of a cedar chest, a collection of journals. Her grandmother had written in them for 60 years, in a handwriting so precise it looked like it had been drawn rather than written. And as Celestine read, she began to recognize things, not just stories she had heard before, something deeper, a way of seeing, a particular quality of attention that felt impossibly like looking in a mirror. Her grandmother had written in entry after entry about the same kinds of experiences Celestine was having. The knowing before the knowing. The dreams that carried messages. The sense of being accompanied by something larger than herself. Her grandmother had called it the family gift, and she had written about it with a matter-of-factness that suggested she had never considered it unusual, only private. Celestine sat on the floor of her grandmother's bedroom and wept, not from grief, though grief was there. She wept from recognition, from the particular relief of discovering that what you thought was strange about you is actually the most coherent thing about you. That what you thought was a malfunction is actually a transmission. She was not broken. She was receiving. What Celestine discovered in that cedar chest was what I want to offer you right now. The possibility that what feels largest and most inexplicable in you is not an anomaly. It is a lineage. It is something that has been moving through your family, perhaps for generations, waiting for someone who would finally have the circumstances, the safety, the language, the readiness to receive it fully and use it consciously. There is a detail about Celestine's story that I have not yet told you, and I want to tell it now because it matters to what comes next. After she finished reading the journals, she went back to the very first entry. Her grandmother had written it at the age of 17, just before she emigrated from the country she had grown up in, leaving behind everything she had known. The entry was brief. It said only this: I do not know what I am carrying or where I am going, but something in me knows the way. I will trust that something. Her grandmother had been 17. She had been crossing an ocean alone, and she had already understood at 17 that the navigating instrument she carried was not her mind. It was something in her field, something that knew before she knew, something she had learned to trust, even when she could not explain it. Celestine read that entry and understood something she had never understood before. Her grandmother had not developed the gift. She had inherited it too. And she had spent 60 years of journal writing, not documenting something unusual, but documenting something she had always known was in the family, something she had always assumed would be passed on, something she had been, in her quiet and precise way, transmitting forward deliberately, entry by entry, in the hope that whoever came after her would find it and recognize themselves in it. The journals were not a record. They were a letter, written across time, to Celestine specifically, because her grandmother had known, in the way that people who carry this frequency know things, that Celestine was the one who would be ready. Your ancestors chose you, not arbitrarily, because of something specific in your energy field that they could recognize, even across time, as capable of carrying what they were transmitting. Have you ever had a moment like Celestine's? A moment of sudden recognition where something in you was confirmed rather than discovered? a moment when your field shifted, when you felt your own light clarify, when you understood that what you carry has always been a transmission. I would love to hear about it in the comments. Your story belongs in this conversation. Let me explain what I mean by that in quantum terms, because this is where the science and the sacred meet in a way that I find genuinely staggering. Quantum biology is a field that has emerged in the last 2 decades, studying the ways that quantum mechanical effects operate in living systems. For a long time, scientists assumed that the warm, wet, noisy environment of biological tissue was too chaotic for quantum effects to matter. Quantum phenomena, they thought, were the province of cold, isolated laboratory conditions. Biology was too messy. They were wrong. We now know that quantum coherence plays a role in photosynthesis, where plants use quantum superposition to route energy through their light harvesting complexes with near perfect efficiency. We know that the navigation of migratory birds depends on quantum entanglement in their retinal proteins, allowing them to sense the Earth's magnetic field with extraordinary precision. We know that the sense of smell may operate through quantum tunneling, where electrons pass through molecular barriers in ways that classical physics cannot explain. Life, it turns out, is deeply quantum. The body is not just a chemical machine. It is a quantum system, and it uses quantum effects to do things that would otherwise be impossible. Now consider this. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon in which 2 particles, once they have interacted, remain correlated regardless of the distance between them. A change in the state of one is instantly reflected in the state of the other, not through any signal traveling between them, but because at some level they remain a single system. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. It troubled him deeply because it seemed to violate the principle that nothing can travel faster than light. But it is real. It has been demonstrated in laboratory conditions thousands of times. And some researchers working at the frontier of quantum biology are beginning to ask a question that sounds almost mystical until you follow the physics. Could quantum entanglement play a role in the transmission of information between generations? This is not yet established science. I want to be precise about that. But it is a serious question being asked by serious people, and the reason it is being asked is that some of what we observe in epigenetic inheritance does not fit neatly into the chemical mechanisms we have identified. The transmission is sometimes too fast, too precise, too specific to be fully explained by the epigenetic markers we can measure. What if part of what moves through a lineage is not just chemical information, but quantum information? What if the entanglement that forms between a parent and child, between a grandparent and grandchild, is not just emotional, but literal? What if the quantum field of your ancestors, the electromagnetic signature of their hearts, their particular pattern of coherence and resonance, left an imprint in your field that persists not as memory, but as frequency? What if your aura carries, in its structure, the quantum signature of everyone who loved you before you were born? I believe it does. And I believe that what is waking up in you right now is the moment when that signature becomes conscious. When you stop broadcasting it accidentally and start broadcasting it intentionally. When the gift stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you wield. Let me show you how to feel it. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to take a moment and place one hand over your heart, not gently, with intention, with the kind of pressure that says, I am here, I am paying attention. This matters. Feel your heartbeat, not as a mechanical fact, but as a living rhythm. This rhythm is generating an electromagnetic field right now. That field is extending beyond your body in every direction. It is carrying information about your current state, your current frequency, what you are broadcasting to the quantum field around you. Now I want you to do something specific. I want you to bring to mind, just briefly, someone from your lineage who you sense was extraordinary. It does not have to be someone you knew personally. It might be a grandparent you only heard stories about. It might be an ancestor you know only as a name on a document or a face in an old photograph. It might be someone you have only ever felt as a presence, a warmth, a sense of accompaniment that you could never quite explain. Bring them to mind, not their story, their quality, the thing about them that you somehow know, even if you cannot explain how you know it. The fierceness, the tenderness, the wisdom, the way they must have moved through the world. Now notice what happens in your chest when you do this. Notice what happens in your electromagnetic field. Because what you are feeling right now is not imagination. It is resonance. Your field is recognizing something in its own structure, like a tuning fork that begins to vibrate when its frequency is sounded nearby. That recognition is real. That vibration is information. And the information it is carrying is this. You come from people who knew how to hold a frequency even when everything around them was trying to knock it down. You come from people who survived, who loved, who passed something forward deliberately, even if they could not name what they were passing. You are what they were passing. Stay with your hand on your heart for a moment longer. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. With each exhale, let yourself feel the depth of what you carry, not as a burden, as a heritage, as something that was earned through generations of living and then given to you. You did not have to earn it again. You only have to receive it. Now let me show you something about why this moment, specifically, might be when that receiving becomes possible. There is a concept in developmental biology called the critical period. A critical period is a window of time in which a particular system is primed for a particular kind of development. The classic example is language acquisition in children. There is a window, roughly from birth to puberty, during which the brain is extraordinarily receptive to learning language. Children who are exposed to rich language during this period develop linguistic capacity that would be nearly impossible to achieve if the exposure came later. The window is not permanent. It is a phase of heightened receptivity, a time when the system is specifically organized to receive a particular kind of input. Researchers have begun to identify something similar in adult development, though the mechanisms are different. There appear to be periods in adult life, often triggered by significant transitions, losses, or what the Jungian tradition calls individuation crises, when the psyche becomes unusually receptive to deeper layers of the self, when things that were previously defended against or simply unavailable begin to surface, when the inherited material, the ancestral frequency, begins to push through. These periods are often uncomfortable. They feel like disruption, like things falling apart, like a law of the familiar self. But what is actually happening is that the field is reorganizing around a deeper signal. The surface noise is being cleared so that the ancestral transmission can come through with greater clarity. If you are in one of those periods right now, if something has shifted or is shifting, if the life you were living feels suddenly insufficient, or the person you were being feels suddenly like a costume, that is not a crisis. That is a critical period. That is your field making room for what has been waiting. And if you are not in obvious disruption, if things feel relatively stable, but you have the persistent sense of something larger trying to emerge, that is the same process moving more quietly. The ancestral frequency does not always arrive as a storm. Sometimes it arrives as a deepening, a growing sense of capacity, a quiet knowing that you are more than you have been allowing yourself to be. Either way, the message is the same. You are ready. The field knows it. That is why you are here. Now, I want to go deeper into the specific nature of what gets transmitted through a lineage, because I think most people have a much narrower idea of this than the reality warrants. When we talk about ancestral transmission, most people think first of trauma, and that is real and important and worth understanding. But the transmission of trauma is only one thread in a much larger tapestry. Lineages also transmit specific sensory capacities, particular ways of processing information, characteristic patterns of coherence and attunement that are not random, but are the developed result of what that lineage needed to survive and thrive. Consider the lineage of a family that lived for generations in a particular landscape. Mountains, or coastline, or forest, or plains. The nervous system adapts to its environment over generations. The sensory attunement that develops in a family of coastal people, the ability to read weather and water, and the subtle shifts in wind that precede a storm. That attunement is not just cultural knowledge. It is physiological. It is written into the nervous system's baseline sensitivity, and it can be transmitted. A descendant of that coastal family, living now in a city, might find themselves with an inexplicable sensitivity to atmospheric pressure changes, might feel storms coming before any forecast predicts them, might have a relationship with water that feels almost cellular, as if the body recognizes something the mind cannot name. That is not mysticism. That is epigenetic attunement, the nervous system's inherited calibration to a particular kind of information. Or consider the lineage of a family that survived persecution through the ability to read people, to sense the difference between genuine safety and performed safety, to know who could be trusted before any evidence was available. That capacity for reading the invisible emotional field of a room, that hyper-attunement to the nonverbal, the micro-expressive, the electromagnetic, is not just a trauma response. It is a survival gift. And in a descendant who is not under threat, who is living in safety, that same capacity becomes something extraordinary. The ability to understand people at a depth that most people cannot access. The ability to know what is really happening beneath what is being said. The ability to feel the emotional truth of a situation before anyone has articulated it. What was once a survival mechanism becomes, in the right conditions, a gift of extraordinary depth. This is what your ancestors were transmitting. Not just their wounds, their wisdom, their developed capacities, their hard-won abilities to perceive and navigate and survive and love. These were not lost when they died. They were folded into the lineage. They were passed forward. They are in you. The question is not whether you carry them. You do. The question is whether you are conscious of them, whether you are using them deliberately, whether you are letting them operate at full coherence, or whether you are dimming them because they feel too large, too strange, too inexplicable, too much. And speaking of that, I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Felt people drawn toward you, or a tension dissolve without quite knowing why? Have you ever felt your own field activate? A warmth in your chest, a sudden expansion, a sense of your own light turning on? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone, and your experience is part of what we are building here together. Let me tell you about a man named Solomon. Solomon grew up in a family that did not talk about feelings. This was not cruelty. It was the particular inheritance of a lineage that had learned through generations of necessity to keep the interior life private, to present a composed surface to a world that had not always been safe, to be capable and competent and reliable, and to reserve the deeper currents of feeling for the rare moments of genuine privacy. Solomon learned this perfectly. He was good at it. He moved through the world as a capable, composed man who was excellent at solving problems and uncomfortable with anything that could not be solved. He did not know, for most of his adult life, that this composure was not his natural state. He thought it was who he was. What he did not know was that underneath the composure, in the electromagnetic field of his heart, he was broadcasting something entirely different. He was broadcasting a depth of sensitivity that was extraordinary, a capacity for attunement that was, in the language of quantum field mechanics, extraordinarily high coherence. But it was running underground, unexpressed, unacknowledged, and in the absence of conscious direction, it was creating effects he could not explain. People told him things they had never told anyone. Strangers on airplanes, colleagues who had been silent for years, people who had no obvious reason to trust him found themselves trusting him completely, often to their own surprise. He could walk into a tense meeting and the tension would shift, not because he did anything, because of what his field was doing unconsciously, without his awareness or direction. He thought this was just something that happened to him. He did not know it was something he was doing. The shift came for Solomon when his mother died, and he went through her belongings and found, in a shoebox at the back of her closet, a collection of letters from his great-grandmother. Letters written to family members during a period of great difficulty, letters that had never been shared, that his mother had kept private for reasons she had never explained. The letters were remarkable. His great-grandmother wrote with a precision about the inner life of the people around her that was almost clinical in its accuracy. She described what people were feeling beneath what they were saying. She described the emotional atmosphere of rooms and situations with a detail that should not have been possible. She wrote about her own sensitivity as both a gift and a burden, as something she had learned over decades to use carefully and with great intention. Solomon read those letters and recognized himself so completely that he had to put them down and walk outside and stand in the cold air for a long time. He had not learned this from his great-grandmother. He had never met her. He had not even known she existed as anything more than a name. But the capacity she described, the same capacity he had been carrying unconsciously his entire life, was unmistakably the same. He was not strange. He was descended. What changed for Solomon after that was not his capacity. His capacity had always been there, operating at full power, whether he acknowledged it or not. What changed was his relationship to it. He stopped treating it as something that happened to him and started treating it as something he was responsible for. He began to direct it consciously, to use it with intention, to let it be what it was. A gift from his lineage, developed over generations, transmitted to him for a reason. And when he did that, when the broadcast became conscious, everything around him shifted. Because a conscious broadcast is not just more powerful than an unconscious one, it is more precise. It reaches further. It draws toward it what it is actually calling for, rather than what the unexamined patterns of the past have been calling for by default. Solomon became, in the language of this channel, a conscious radiator, and the reality that assembled around his conscious signal was profoundly different from the reality that had assembled around his unconscious one. Your story may not look like Solomon's, but the principle is the same. The capacity is there. It has always been there. The question is whether you are going to let it run on autopilot, broadcasting the unexamined patterns of inherited conditioning, or whether you are going to take conscious hold of the signal and direct it. Today, I want to offer you a practice that will help you do the latter. A practice specifically designed to bring your ancestral field into conscious coherence, to make the transmission conscious, to let you feel what you carry, and begin to direct it with intention. This practice has 3 movements. I am going to walk you through all 3, and I want you to do them in sequence, giving each one the time it needs. Do not rush this. Your field needs time to respond. Quantum systems are not instantaneous in the way we sometimes imagine. They need the sustained conditions of coherence to shift into a new state. The first movement is called receiving the lineage. Sit comfortably, with your spine relatively upright, but not rigid. Place both hands over your heart. Close your eyes if that feels right. Take 3 long, slow breaths, and with each exhale, let your body release the tension of whatever you were doing before this moment. You are not going anywhere. You are not trying to achieve anything. You are simply becoming available. Now, with your hands on your heart and your breath slow and steady, I want you to set an intention, not a wish, an intention. An intention is a direction you give to your field. It is a signal you send to the quantum field around you that says, "I'm ready to receive what my lineage has been transmitting." You can say this silently or aloud. The words matter less than the quality of attention behind them. What you are doing is opening a channel. You are making yourself receptive to a frequency that has been trying to reach you. Sit with this for a few minutes. Notice what arises. You might feel warmth in your chest. You might feel a sense of expansion, as if your field is growing larger. You might feel emotion without a clear source, which is the field responding to contact with something it recognizes. You might feel very little, which is also fine. The practice is working, whether you feel it dramatically or not. What matters is the quality of your attention, not the intensity of your experience. The second movement is called recognizing the gift. Still with your hands on your heart, I want you to ask yourself a specific question, not to answer it analytically, to feel into it. The question is this: what is the thing in me that feels too large for one lifetime? It might be a sensitivity, a way of knowing, a capacity for love or grief or joy that feels outsized, that has sometimes felt like too much, that you have perhaps tried to manage or contain because it seemed disproportionate to the circumstances. It might be a creative capacity that has always felt like it came from somewhere beyond you. It might be a particular way of seeing, of understanding, of being with people that others have commented on, that has sometimes felt more like a transmission than a skill. Whatever arises, I want you to consider the possibility that it did not begin with you, that it was developed over generations by people who needed it, that it was refined and strengthened through the pressure of living, and that it was given to you deliberately because your lineage recognized that you were the one who could carry it consciously into the world. Feel that. Let it land. Let the weight of it be real. This is not a burden. This is a commission. There is a difference. A burden is something imposed on you without your consent, something you carry against your will. A commission is something entrusted to you because you are the right person for it, something that calls from your deepest capacity rather than your most exhausted place. What your ancestors transmitted to you is a commission. They did not give it to you to carry silently and alone. They gave it to you to use, to express, to bring into the world in the particular way that only you, with your particular life and your particular circumstances and your particular moment in history, can bring it. The third movement is called broadcasting with intention. This is where the practice becomes active, where the receiving turns into radiating. Still with your hands on your heart, I want you to take the quality you identified in the second movement, the thing that feels too large for one lifetime, and I want you to consciously amplify it, not by trying harder, by relaxing the resistance to it, by letting it be as large as it actually is, rather than managing it down to a size that feels safer. Breathe into it. With each inhale, let it expand. With each exhale, let it radiate outward from your heart field into the space around you. Feel it extending beyond your body, the way the heart math research shows your heart's electromagnetic field actually does extend feet beyond your physical form in every direction. You are not making this up. You are not performing it. You are allowing what is already there to be what it already is. You are removing the dimmer switch and letting the light be its actual brightness. Stay here for as long as feels right. There is no correct amount of time. Some people find that 3 minutes is transformative. Others need 20. Your field will tell you when it has settled into the new coherence. You will feel it as a kind of settling, a sense of rightness, a quality of being fully inhabited in your own body and your own field. When you are ready, take 3 final breaths. With the first, feel gratitude for what you carry. With the second, feel the presence of those who gave it to you. With the third, feel your own readiness to use it. Then, open your eyes and let yourself be, for a moment, exactly what you are. A conscious radiator of an ancestral frequency, carrying something that was earned through generations and given to you to bring into the world. Now let me go deeper into the mechanics of why this practice works. Because I want you to understand this, not just as something you do, but as something that is physically happening in your body and your field. When you place your hands on your heart and breathe slowly and intentionally, you are initiating a physiological state change. The slow, rhythmic breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch of your autonomic nervous system responsible for rest, restoration, and what researchers call the tend and befriend response. As the parasympathetic system activates, your heart rate variability, the measure of the variation in time between your heartbeats, increases and becomes more rhythmically organized. This organized heart rate variability is the physiological signature of cardiac coherence. And cardiac coherence, as the Heart Math Institute has demonstrated, changes the electromagnetic field your heart generates. A coherent field is not just calmer. It is more organized, more powerful, and more capable of influencing the fields around it. Here is the part that connects directly to your ancestral field. The heart math research has also found that the state of cardiac coherence is associated with increased intuitive accuracy, increased access to what they call heart intelligence, and increased sensitivity to information that is not available through the ordinary sensory channels. In a state of high cardiac coherence, people consistently show greater ability to detect information that should not be accessible through normal means. This is not paranormal. It is the physics of a coherent field interacting with a complex quantum environment. When your field is coherent, it is both broadcasting and receiving at a higher bandwidth. It is, in the most literal sense, more open. And when you bring your ancestral frequency into that state of coherence, when you consciously tune your coherent field to the inherited signature of your lineage, you are creating the conditions for something remarkable. You are making available, through the organized intelligence of your heart field, information and capacity that has been carried in your lineage, but that the noise of ordinary consciousness has been obscuring. This is what Celestine experienced when she read her grandmother's journals. This is what Solomon experienced when he read his great-grandmother's letters. The encounter with the ancestral transmission created a moment of coherence, a moment when the field recognized itself. And in that recognition, something that had been running underground became conscious. You do not need a cedar chest or a shoebox of letters to have that experience. You have the practice I just gave you. You have the intention. You have the capacity. And you have, in your own field, everything that was transmitted to you. Let me talk now about something that I think is important to address directly, because it comes up for many people when they begin to explore this territory. The question of what to do with the difficult parts of the ancestral transmission. Because not everything that moves through a lineage is a gift in the obvious sense. Some of it is wound. Some of it is pattern. Some of it is the particular shape of suffering that a family learned to carry, because carrying it in that particular shape was what kept them alive. The epigenetic research on trauma inheritance is clear. The physiological imprints of extreme stress, of violence, of persecution, of loss, can be transmitted across generations. Children and grandchildren of people who survived traumatic events show measurable differences in stress hormone regulation, in inflammatory markers, in the baseline sensitivity of their nervous systems. They are not imagining this. It is in their biology, and it can show up in the energy field as a kind of static, a background frequency of hypervigilance, of constriction, of the sense that safety is always temporary and danger is always possible. This static is not who you are. It is what your lineage learned in order to survive. It is the emergency frequency that was necessary then, and that your nervous system has inherited as a default, even though the emergency is long past. Recognizing this static as inherited rather than intrinsic is one of the most liberating things you can do for your field. Because the moment you can see it as a transmission rather than a truth, you can begin to work with it rather than being defined by it. Here is the key distinction. The capacity that was developed through the trauma is real and valuable. The emergency frequency that accompanied it is no longer necessary. Your work is to keep the capacity and release the emergency signal, to carry the depth of perception that your lineage developed through difficulty without carrying the constant state of alarm that was its original context. This is not simple work. It is the work of a lifetime, and it is not done alone. But the first step is exactly what we have been doing today. Recognizing that what you carry has a lineage, that it is not just yours, that it did not originate in your personal failures or your personal wounds. It was given to you in the form it was given, because that was the form in which your ancestors could transmit it. And you have the capacity to receive what they gave you and transform it, to take the survival frequency and elevate it to a thriving frequency, to take the gift that was wrapped in difficulty and unwrap it carefully with great love for those who wrapped it, and let it be what it was always meant to be: a capacity for extraordinary perception, extraordinary resilience, extraordinary love. This is the alchemical work of the ancestral field. And you are, by virtue of being here and being ready, already doing it. I want to go further into what that alchemical work actually looks like in the body, because I think this is where the practice becomes most personal and most powerful. There is a specific physiological signature to the moment when an inherited survival pattern begins to release. Researchers studying somatic approaches to trauma have documented it consistently. It begins as a subtle trembling or vibration in the body, sometimes in the legs, sometimes in the hands, sometimes in the chest. This is the nervous system discharging a held pattern, releasing the muscular and fascial tension that has been maintaining the old frequency as a kind of structural memory. If you have ever been in a moment of deep emotional release, a cry that surprised you in its depth, a shaking that seemed to come from nowhere, a sudden wave of heat or cold moving through your body. You have felt this. You were not falling apart. You were releasing a frequency that had been held in your tissue, possibly for decades, possibly inherited from generations before you. The body knows how to do this. It does not need to be taught. It needs to be allowed. And what allows it is precisely the state we have been cultivating in this practice: cardiac coherence, parasympathetic activation, and the conscious intention to receive rather than defend. When you sit with your hands on your heart and breathe slowly and bring your ancestral field into awareness, you are creating the physiological conditions under which these releases can happen safely. You are telling your nervous system, the emergency is over. You can put down what you have been holding. The person who needed this frequency to survive is not here anymore. I am here, and I am safe. That message, delivered through the language of the body rather than the language of the mind, is what changes the epigenetic expression. Not instantly, not in one session, but over time, through repeated practice, through the accumulated signal of a nervous system that is consistently being told, you are safe, you are held, you can open. This is how you transform the lineage, not by rejecting what was transmitted, by receiving it fully, and then, from a place of safety and coherence, choosing what to amplify and what to release. Let me tell you about one more thing that I find genuinely extraordinary about the science of ancestral transmission, because I think it changes the way you might think about your own gifts and your own purpose. There is a researcher named Dr. Michael Levin at Tufts University who works in the field of bioelectricity, the study of the electrical signals that living systems use to organize themselves. His work has revealed something that sounds almost impossible: the body's electrical field, the bioelectric pattern that surrounds and permeates living tissue, carries information about the organism's form. It is a kind of template, a field-level blueprint that guides the development and regeneration of biological structures. What Levin and his colleagues have shown is that this bioelectric field is not just a byproduct of the body's chemistry. It is an organizing principle. It precedes the physical form and guides it. In experiments with planaria, flatworms that can regenerate their entire bodies from tiny fragments, Levin's team has been able to alter the bioelectric field of a fragment and cause it to grow into a completely different form than it would have grown into otherwise. The field is directing the biology, not the other way around. Now extend this principle to your lineage. If the bioelectric field is an organizing principle that precedes and guides physical form, and if that field carries information about the organism's history and experience through epigenetic mechanisms, then what you are inheriting from your ancestors is not just chemical information. It is a field-level template, a bioelectric blueprint that has been shaped by generations of living, and that is now shaping you. Your aura, your electromagnetic field, is not separate from this. It is the outer expression of the same organizing principle that is shaping your biology from the inside. And when you become conscious of your field, when you bring it into coherence and begin to direct it intentionally, you are working at the level of the organizing principle itself. You are not just changing your mood or your mindset. You are potentially influencing the bioelectric template that is organizing your entire system. This is why conscious radiance is not just a spiritual practice. It is a biological one. It is working at the most fundamental level of living organization, the field level, where the most profound change is possible. And this is why your ancestral powers, the gifts that have been transmitted to you through generations of living, are not just psychological resources. They are field-level capacities. They are encoded in the organizing principle of your electromagnetic field. They are available to you at a depth that goes all the way down to the biology of how you are organized. When those powers wake up, as they are waking up in you now, it is not just a metaphor. Something is genuinely reorganizing at the field level around a deeper signal, the signal that your ancestors were transmitting, the signal that is yours to carry consciously now. I want to speak now to the specific experience of waking up to an ancestral gift, because I think the phenomenology of it is worth naming in detail. Because if you are in it or approaching it, you deserve to know what it actually feels like from the inside. It often begins with a sense of something pressing against the surface of ordinary life. Not urgently, not dramatically, but persistently, like a sound just below the threshold of hearing that you keep almost catching, like a word on the tip of your tongue that will not quite come, like a dream you keep almost remembering. This is the ancestral frequency trying to surface. It is not trying to frighten you. It is trying to reach you, but it can only come through the opening that you create, through the moments of stillness and receptivity and genuine attention that you offer it. The second phase is often recognition, the moment when something you have always carried but never named suddenly becomes visible to you. This might come through an encounter with someone else who carries a similar frequency. It might come through a piece of art or music that seems to speak directly to something you have never articulated. It might come through a dream or a meditation or a moment of unusual stillness in which something simply becomes clear. The recognition is often accompanied by a complex emotional response, relief and grief and excitement and a kind of awe all at once. Because you are recognizing something that has always been true. And the recognition of a truth that has always been true carries both the joy of discovery and the ache of all the time you spent not knowing it. The third phase is integration. This is the longest and most demanding phase, and it is the one that requires the most support and the most patience. Integration is the process of learning to live consciously with what you carry, of developing the capacity to hold a larger field without being overwhelmed by it, of learning to direct the ancestral gift with precision and intention, rather than having it run on autopilot, or worse, suppressing it because it feels like too much. Integration is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. It is the daily work of choosing to be conscious of your signal, of choosing to broadcast with intention rather than by default, of choosing to let the ancestral frequency run at full coherence rather than at the diminished, managed, socially acceptable level that feels safer but costs more than you know. And the fourth phase, which is where I believe you are being called, is transmission. Not just receiving what your ancestors gave you, but beginning to transmit it yourself, becoming a conscious link in the chain, adding your own refinement, your own development, your own particular expression of the lineage gift to what gets passed forward. Because this is the other thing that the science of epigenetic transmission makes clear. You are not just a receiver. You are also a transmitter. The experiences you have, the capacities you develop, the frequency you cultivate, these things will be transmitted to those who come after you, not just through cultural transmission, through story and teaching and example, but through the epigenetic layer, through the electromagnetic field, through the quantum information that moves in ways we are only beginning to understand. What you do with your field right now matters beyond your own lifetime. The frequency you cultivate, the coherence you develop, the conscious radiance you choose will become part of what is transmitted forward. You are not just receiving a lineage, you are shaping one. This is the full weight and the full beauty of what is waking up in you. You are a link in a chain that extends backward into a past you cannot fully remember, and forward into a future you cannot fully see. And the quality of the link you are, the coherence of your field, the consciousness of your broadcast, determines what gets strengthened and what gets passed on. Your ancestors chose you because they could see, somehow, across time and across the quantum field, that you were the one who would carry this consciously, who would not just inherit the gift, but develop it? Who would not just receive the frequency, but amplify it? Who would not just survive as they survived, but thrive in a way that would change what the lineage transmits forever? That is a large thing to hold. I know it is. But you are large enough to hold it. That is the whole point. Let me offer you one final layer of understanding before we close, because I want to give you something specific and practical to take with you. Something that will help you work with your ancestral field in the days and weeks ahead. The most important thing you can do for your ancestral field is also the simplest. Become more coherent. Not more spiritual. Not more disciplined. Not more anything. More coherent. More organized in your electromagnetic broadcast. More consistent in the frequency you are putting out. Coherence is not a state you achieve once and then maintain effortlessly. It is a state you return to again and again through specific practices that bring your heart's electromagnetic field into its organized, high-amplitude sine wave rhythm. The HeartMath research has identified several reliable ways to do this. Slow, rhythmic breathing with a longer exhale than inhale. The deliberate cultivation of positive emotional states, particularly appreciation and care. Heart-focused attention, the practice of gently directing your awareness to the area of your heart and holding it there. These are not complicated. They are not demanding, but they require consistency. Because coherence is not just a momentary state. It is a baseline that you build over time through repeated practice. And as your baseline coherence rises, everything in your field rises with it. The ancestral gifts become more accessible. The inherited static becomes easier to distinguish from the underlying gift. The broadcast becomes cleaner, more powerful, more precisely aligned with what you are actually calling into your life. There is a specific coherence practice I want to add here that is designed precisely for working with ancestral frequency. Because the standard cardiac coherence techniques are powerful, but they are not tuned to this particular work. This one is. It is called the Lineage breath, and it is simple enough to do anywhere, at any time, in under 5 minutes. Sit or stand with your spine upright. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your lower belly, just below your navel. This posture connects two of the body's primary electromagnetic centers, the heart field and the enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain. which has its own electromagnetic output and its own form of intelligence. Now breathe in through your nose for a count of 5, letting the breath fill first your belly and then your chest, so that both hands rise slightly. Hold for a count of 2. Then exhale through your mouth for a count of 7, letting the chest fall first and then the belly, so that both hands lower. The ratio of 5 in, 2 hold, 7 out is specific. The extended exhale is what activates the parasympathetic system most efficiently. The 2-count hold gives the heart's electromagnetic field a moment of stillness in which to organize itself. Do this for 4 complete cycles. On the 4th exhale, instead of simply breathing out, I want you to imagine that you are exhaling the emergency frequency, the inherited static, the survival signal that is no longer needed, not with force, with gratitude, with the understanding that it served its purpose, that it kept your lineage alive, and that you are now choosing to release it because you are safe, and because the gift beneath it is ready to be expressed without that particular wrapping. Then take a 5th breath, and on this one, breathe in with the specific intention of receiving the gift that was underneath the static all along. The capacity, the wisdom, the frequency of your lineage at its highest expression. Hold that breath for 5 counts. Feel it in your chest. Feel your heart field organize around it. Then exhale slowly and completely, and let yourself radiate what you just received. That is the lineage breath. It is not a visualization exercise. It is a physiological intervention that uses the mechanics of cardiac coherence to do something very specific, to shift the epigenetic expression of your ancestral inheritance from the survival register to the thriving register, to tell your nervous system, through the language it actually speaks, that the emergency is over and the gift is ready. The second thing you can do is pay attention to the moments when your field is at its highest coherence, naturally. Not the moments you engineer through practice, but the moments that arise spontaneously when something in your life touches the ancestral frequency directly. A piece of music that moves you in a way you cannot explain. A landscape that feels like recognition, a conversation that drops suddenly into a depth that surprises both people. A creative act that feels like it is coming through you rather than from you. These moments are data. They are your field showing you where the ancestral gift lives most fully in your current life. Pay attention to what consistently brings you into that state. spend more time there, not as escapism, but as cultivation. You are watering the root. And the third thing, which is perhaps the most important, tell someone. Not because you need their validation, but because speaking the ancestral gift aloud is an act of coherence in itself. It is the moment when the interior transmission becomes an exterior broadcast, when the frequency that has been running underground becomes conscious and expressed, and therefore, in the quantum sense, real in a new way. You do not have to explain it fully. You do not have to have the language for all of it. You only have to say to someone who can hear it, I carry something that has been in my family for a long time. I am beginning to understand what it is. I am choosing to use it consciously. That act of naming is itself a quantum event. It collapses the wave function of possibility into the particle of reality. It makes the transmission conscious, and a conscious transmission, as we have said throughout this entire exploration, is infinitely more powerful than an unconscious one. I want to say one more thing about the nature of ancestral choosing, because I think it is the thing that most people feel but cannot quite articulate when they encounter this material for the first time. Your ancestors did not choose you the way you might choose a successor, by evaluating candidates and selecting the most qualified. They chose you the way a seed chooses its soil, by resonance, by the particular match between what they were carrying and what you were capable of receiving. The choosing was not a decision. It was a recognition. Across whatever quantum distance separates the living from those who have gone before, something in your lineage recognized something in the configuration of your field and said, there, that one. That is the one who will finally be able to hold this fully. And the reason you are able to hold it fully now, when perhaps others in your lineage could not, is not that you are more gifted or more special. It is that you are living in conditions that make full expression possible. The safety your ancestors fought for, the freedom they sacrificed for, the world they worked to create, the very circumstances of your life that you may sometimes take for granted. These are the conditions under which the gift can finally be expressed without the emergency frequency running alongside it. You are the beneficiary of every sacrifice your lineage ever made. And the way you honor that is not through guilt or through striving. It is through full expression, through letting what they gave you be as large as it actually is, through refusing to dim yourself out of habit or fear or the old inherited belief that it is safer to be small. Your ancestors were not small. They were enormous. They carried enormous things through enormous difficulty. And they passed to you not their smallness, but their enormity. Not their limitation, but their capacity. Not their fear, but their love. You are the love they had for a future they would never see. You are the bet they made on the possibility that something they built through their living could outlast them and grow larger in someone who came after. You are here. You found this. Something in you already knew it was time. You have been carrying this your whole life. You have been radiating it unconsciously in all the ways that have made you recognizably, inexplicably, irreducibly you. The person who knows things they should not know. The one who feels things at a depth that surprises everyone, including yourself. The one who has sometimes felt too much for the world you were given. Not because you are broken, but because you are carrying a frequency that is larger than the container you were offered. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. You are, in fact, precisely what your lineage needed to produce in order to carry this gift into its next expression. Your ancestors chose you, not randomly, not arbitrarily, because of the specific configuration of your energy field, the particular resonance of your heart's electromagnetic signature, the unique way you process and transmit and transform the frequency of your lineage. They chose you because they could see, in the quantum sense of seeing that transcends time and space, that you were the one who would finally bring this into full conscious coherence. And now you are here, doing exactly that. Your field is active. Your ancestral frequency is rising into consciousness. The transmission that has been moving through your lineage for longer than anyone can remember is finding, in you, its most conscious expression yet. What you do with it from here is yours to choose. But know this, the choosing is not a small thing. It is the thing your entire lineage has been moving toward. The moment when the gift stops being carried unconsciously and starts being wielded with full awareness and full intention. If this work is calling to you, return to this when your field is most receptive, in the quiet of early morning, before the world asks anything of you, or in the stillness before sleep, when the signal runs clearest. And if someone in your life is carrying something large and unnamed, something that feels too big for one lifetime, consider sharing this with them. When you pass this to someone whose light needs reminding, you are not just sending a video. You are sending a frequency. Their field recognizes it. Your field strengthens through the resonance of that recognition, and the coherence between you becomes part of what radiates outward into the larger field. That is how the collective luminosity grows, one conscious transmission at a time. That moment is now. You are in it. You found this because something in you already knew it was time. Welcome to your ancestral field. Welcome to your conscious radiance. Welcome to the fullest expression of what your lineage has been building toward. Through every generation, through every difficulty, and every triumph, and every ordinary day of extraordinary living toward you. Shine, not because you should, because that is what you are, and because the people who came before you worked very hard to make sure you would. Your light is on. It has always been on. And now, finally, you know it.